Today is Saturday, March 8th, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I just wanted to talk a little bit about being part of a sisterhood that all women are here to support and love and respect and be kind to one another. It seems that we've totally lost sight of that importance of the connections. I think a lot of that has to do with colonialistic trainings, perfectionism, guilt, shame, never feeling good enough or smart enough or as pretty as her, the comparatinitis, I think they call it. There's all of these things that we've kind of been trained to do that we never actually realized what was going on, right? So we're going to continue. I noticed this morning as I went out for breakfast with a few of my girlfriends, and we talked and we laughed and we told stories and we talked about coloring our hair and all this stuff. And I thought to myself, OMG, how lucky are we, that we can just sit here kind of like sisters, friends, support system even at times. Sometimes the best support system are your friends. Not dissing family. However, in my years of life, I have to say that those in my family many times were not able to be what I needed them to be, and probably I was not what they needed me to be. So it's sad, but it's true. And I don't think there's any more room or space in our lives or anything for blame. I think that being able to kind of look back just today, even to this breakfast I had with my friends, and how much fun I had and how much I love these ladies. I just think back to times when I look back at people and I thought, oh, wow, she's so freaking perfect. Look at that girl. She got a little body. She got perfect jeans on, a t-shirt tucked in. And I was sitting there so envious. I was always this chubby kid. And, my father was just a brutal bully. And especially about my body and how, he had said to me at one point, you're just so big, and I really wasn't. Now I think back and I think, wow, how unfortunate to have a man like that in my life. No wonder why I always ended up with people that treated me like I didn't matter, or that were pushovers or unsupportive on so many levels. I just realized that looking back in time over friendships and family connections and all of these things, that we so many times when we're just living in that moment, we don't even realize that we're envious, or we're being the bully, or we're being bullied, or the other person is putting us down because they feel less than us. And you're just being yourself, right? You're not even thinking about putting them down or whatever. You're just, walking on your side of the street, loving on yourself, which is amazing. And if you don't even realize that's what you're doing when you're doing it. But now I can look back, and it kind of brought me to all of these thought processes this morning as I was sitting with my friends having our breakfast, and how much fun I was having with them, None of this comparatinitis, none of this looking at her and saying, oh, she's better than me, she's prettier than me. Just being good to each other, being kind to each other, saying, you look, I seen your mother in your face this morning. You look so nice. And I thought, oh my God, I was so happy. Like for a second, I seen like all of us are sitting there. We're all motherless and basically fatherless. We're orphans, right? But I'm the oldest of the crew. The other one's 50, the other one's 51 or 52. And I'm older than them by 5 years or more. So I just love them. They're just such good humans. And it's not about being a woman or being a man. It's about just being a good person. And I had to go because it was like, the one thing I do for myself, go get my nails done. And we were talking about just before we broke apart our little breakfast thing and we were done and leaving for our day, we were talking about like, how do we feel as women? Like we shame ourselves, we blame ourselves, we make excuses, we bully ourselves, we twist ourselves into knots, we hang ourselves on the meat hooks, and we really think we're the only one who has done something stupid, backhanded, on the sly. Like we I don't know if this is a word, we incrementalize so many things that we have thought or actually did in our lives. We're not alone. We're not alone on this planet. And even though we are individuals, we need to remember how many other women, young girls, grandmothers, aunts, mothers, sisters, daughters, granddaughters that there are on this planet with us, who are going to experience the things we have and are going to feel just as alone as we have at times. So it's really important for me, for all of us, to know we're not alone. How can we be? When you rationalize that, how can we be alone in making this certain mistake? How can we be alone in thinking that thought? You know how many people before us have thought it? And during our different decades on the planet, if we're lucky, and how many more after us are going to think the thoughts we've thought and are thinking, do the things we've done, twist themselves into knots for shame and blame of stupidities or laziness, or you're so dumb. All these kind of things that we've said to ourselves, that we've punished ourselves, and we just are not alone. So when you take the time to really look at all the things that you've thought, all the things that you've done, the people who have programmed you and conditioned you to think that way about yourself, how could you have thought any different? How could you have done any different? For myself, sometimes I wonder, how could I have done that? My kids were 19, 16, and 14. And I moved to Australia. And I begged them to come with me. And they adamantly said no. They would not come with me. So I went. And it was the biggest mistake of my life. I wasn't gone long. Like, 2.5 years perhaps. But it was the biggest mistake of my life. Not only because I left these young adults behind, but also because And I'm going to say this, I didn't listen to my mother. My mother screamed at me, was in my driveway yelling at me, and I just ignored her. It was the most detrimental choice of my life. And I have hung myself on those meat hooks and twisted myself into knots. And I have called myself the names, verbally, emotionally, and intellectual, punched myself in the face, kicked myself to the curb, threw myself in the garbage. My kids never did, though. And that's one of the most amazing things, is that nobody punished me and berated me and belittled me as much as I did to myself. And I'm telling you, I have great friends today. I have amazing children. I have 2 beautiful, awesome, spectacular granddaughters. And nobody's holding it against me. Nobody's holding a grudge. So why was I? Why was I doing that to myself? So when you think about things that way, right? Why do we do these things to ourselves? What on earth were we thinking? When you think of things in those ways, you start to realize how crazy it is that we just don't give ourselves a break. We don't love on ourselves enough. We're not letting go of things we should. We forgive other people for stepping all over us, cheating on us, talking about us behind our back, not showing up for us. But boy, oh boy, when it comes to ourselves, we are just terrible. So think about that. Being good to yourself. Let it go. No one else is berating you and beating you up and verbally assaulting you as bad as you do to yourself. And on top of that, be kind to yourself. Find yourself a sisterhood. Find yourself a system. And let it go. Let it go. Give yourself a break. Take a breath. Love on yourself more. Stop twisting yourself into knots about things that are done and past. And yeah, you may have made the choice, but you know what? It's over. And you just need to move on. Live your life baggage less. Live your life not less. Stop twisting yourself into those knots. You're perfect. You're awesome. You're beautiful. You're smart. You're human. Be your biggest fan. You deserve that. This is Cheryl, wishing you a great day. I'll be back with another episode. Let's do this. Let's go, and let's let it go. I love you.